Hi and welcome. My name is Obed, and in today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you about computer storage units. So remember, we are still doing introduction computers, trying to understand technology before we even start using it. So make sure that you don't skip any of these tutorials, because understanding the fundamental concepts is very, very important before you even dive into the practicals, because very many people are normally interested so much into the practicals and being able to do things without first being able to understand them. So professionally understanding computers is also understanding the theory behind computers and ICT. So today we want to learn about something very interesting. Just like I said, it's about computer storage units. So when you want to measure the length of something, what do you normally use? You normally take a ruler that is calibrated in centimeters or in inches. If I told you 10 centimeters, you can even visualize that in your head. It's something you understand. If you want to measure the weight of something, like for example, sugar, you use grams or kilograms. You go to a supermarket, tell them, give me a kilogram of sugar. And you can visualize that even without seeing that. You can visualize that and tell 1 kg of sugar looks like what. So that is why we also want to talk about computer storage units, so that you can also visualize that. You go to a shop, you want to buy a flash disk, and then the person selling you the flash disks, they normally tell you that they have got flash disks of various capacities. We have got 1 GB flash disk, 32 GB, 64 GB, 128 GB, and you're like, what is this thing that we call GB? Because it's not about their physical size or their weight. This is something different. And for like content creators, sometimes you go take photographs. Probably it's on an event. It could be it's a wedding event, and you maybe took like 500 photos, and you should now back up these photos in a flash disk, but you're not very sure about the size of the flash disk that you need. It could be one photo taken with your camera is around 9 MBs. You took 500 photos. So what is the size of the flash disk that you need to be able to store all these photos? So that is not something you should imagine. It is something you should be able to calculate or visualize and know exactly what size of flash disk you need. So that is why we want to explore computer storage units, so that you can understand the units as good as you understand kgs, centimeters, and other things. So computer storage and data is normally measured in bits and bytes. So let's start with a bit. A bit is the smallest storage unit that can be used to represent data. Let me tell you, even letter A stored on a computer system is not usually the size of a bit. So a bit is a binary digit. Actually, bit is an abbreviation for binary digit, and it's a representation of data. We call it binary because your computer normally transforms or changes anything that it stores or processes into a series of zeros or ones. So that is the meaning of binary. So in quotes, we normally say that the computer has 2 fingers. You have 10 fingers. And that is why even our counting system is decimal. We normally count up to 10, from 0 up to 9. And then all the numbers that we have in existence in decimal numbering system, they normally comprises only numbers from 0 to 9. You want 10, it's 1 and 0. You want 11, it's 1 and 1. Now, when it comes to binary, your computer has 2 fingers in quotes. So it counts from 0 and then up to 1. Fingers are finished. And then if it wants to represent a number like 2, then it has to represent that using some binary arithmetics. So we won't get much into details about that. So that is the meaning of bit, a bit. Then the second storage unit that we have is a byte, B-Y-T-E. On a computer, it's normally denoted by a small b, or a b basically, b. And a byte is made up of 8 bits. So when you put 8 pairs of bits together, we say that you have got 1 byte. representing that into maybe something that you can visualize or see, a bit is equivalent to a single plain character stored on a computer. Like, for example, my name is Obed, Obed. If I stored that as plain text on my computer, my name would take the space of 4 bytes because it has 4 letters. One letter is equivalent to a byte. So remember, just a very plain character has no color and other details. And then after a byte, we have a KB, a kilobyte. A kilobyte is made up of 1024 bytes. So you put together 1024 bytes, you have a kilobyte. Like, for example, you are typing, you want to type a WhatsApp message to your friend. If you type hi, H-I, that is going to deduct 2 bytes from your data bundle. And then from there, if you continue typing and you type until you have 1024 characters or letters, that is going to be equivalent to a kilobyte, because we don't say 1024 bytes. Instead of saying that, you say 1 kilobyte. You don't go to a shop and say, give me sugar 1000 grams. Instead, you normally say, give me 1 kilogram. So now this K thing is what we call a kilobyte in a computer, made up of 1024 bytes. So I hope you can now see that in your mind. Maybe this could be, if you typed plain text, 1024 characters, it could be the size of a page maybe. Yeah, let's take the assumption it could be the size of a page. That is a kilobyte. Now, the next storage unit after kilobyte is megabyte. A megabyte is made up of 1024 kilobytes. So now we compared a kilobyte to a page of a book. And therefore, if we now compare a megabyte, we could compare a megabyte to a book. And this book must have 1024 pages. Every page must be having 1024 characters. And remember, every character must be just plain text with no details. So I hope you can now visually see the size of a megabyte. So what we are used to, that is the size of a megabyte, is, for example, the photograph you take with your phone. Like my phone takes a photograph the size of around 7 megabytes. Another phone takes 10 megabytes. But now a photo is detailed, because you see one photo and it has like 10 megabytes. And do you know what 10 megabytes is in form of plain text? That could be equivalent to around 10 books, each book with 1024 pages. The size of a Bible probably, or a Quran, or just a big book. So that is a megabyte. Now let's move on. The next storage unit that we have is a gigabyte, GB. A gigabyte is now made up of 1024 megabytes. We compared a megabyte to a book having 1024 pages. Now, a gigabyte could be compared to a shelf of books. And not a small shelf with 5 books, but a shelf with 1024 books. Not just books, but every book having 1024 pages. Not just pages, every page having 1024 characters, plain text. So you can see how big a GB is. What we are used to, that is the size of a GB, like for example, the storage of our mobile phones. Mine has 64 GB, others have 128 GB, others have 16 GB. You go to a shop, you want to buy a flash disk, probably you get a flash disk of like maybe 32 GB, 64 GB. So that is the size of a GB. And that is the unit we normally use when we are buying flash disks and even laptops. You want to buy a laptop, like mine have 500 GB of storage. Others have bigger storage capacities. Now let's talk about the next storage unit. And the next storage unit that we have is a terabyte, TB. A terabyte has 1024 GBs. You can see how big that is. Now, comparing this to books, we can compare this to the size of a whole library. This library containing 1024 shelves. each shelf having 1024 books, each book having 1024 pages, each page having 1024 characters. You can see how big a terabyte is. And you know that we have laptops you buy on the shops that have got the storage capacity of a terabyte. You'll get a laptop with 1 TB storage, 2 TB storage. Those units are there. Or an external storage drive with maybe 1 TB, 2 TB, 4 TB, etc. We have a petabyte, a PB. A petabyte is made up of 1024 terabytes. If we compare these to my analogy of books, we can compare these to 1024 libraries. Every library having 1024 shelves. Every shelf having 1024 books. Every book having 1024 pages. Every page having 1024 characters. Every character being plain, that is my condition, just being plain, being the size of 1 byte. So I hope you have been able to understand the computer storage unit and you've been able to visualize that in your mind. So anytime we talk about 1 GB, at least you can understand. We talk about 10 MBs, at least it's something that you can visualize and understand. Because sometimes you have like 100 photos. Every photo has 9 MBs. You want to store these in a flash disk. Which is the most appropriate size of flash disk do you need? Because you just need to say it's 9 MBs times 100. So that is 900 MBs. So it means that a flash disk of 1 GB will be okay because it has 1024 MBs. So that is why understanding computer storage units is very, very important because it helps you be able to understand what size of storage you need or what size of storage a certain particular unit represents. So this marks the end of today's tutorial, or basically this tutorial. Make sure that you follow the other tutorials to continue understanding technology better and better. Thank you so much. I was your teacher, Obex. In case you liked my tutorial, make sure that you give me a thumbs up. You have any question or any comment, post it on the comment section. Plus, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. If you've not done it, please do it right away. Just do it right now. I'm waiting for you to do it. Yeah, so that the next time I'm posting another tutorial, at least you'll be notified. Thank you for your like. Thank you for your comment. And thank you for subscribing. Have a nice time.
Yeah, Obex online niko tayari. Kwa simu yako ama kompyuta, ka nyumbani au kwa cyber. Tunasema elimu sio barrier.